take 6. There's this documentary on YouTube called Demon Magicians Exposed. Now, obviously, this doesn't apply to all the magicians out there, because obviously you get really passionate. But this applies to the magicians that can levitate over buildings, that can make other people levitate, that can walk through metal gates and the Great Wall of China, and just, you know, unnatural stuff that even just average magicians can't do. This is a great documentary. It really highlights every single detail you need to know in regards to how to spot these magicians that use spiritual help, demonic help. Even some of them are open about using spiritual help. I mean, David Copperfield, he actually said that he wouldn't have been able to perform some of his tricks without demonic assistance or spiritual help. There's also another clip in there that a dark magician says he prays to certain demons to get certain powers, and obviously they sell their soul to gain power and fame. Another example is when Dynamo, the famous English magician, his mate got interviewed, and he said Dynamo went into the woods for a week, and he started praying, you know, to something, and then when he came back, you know, his fame just blew up. So yeah, and even in an interview, Dynamo said he had Crohn's disease and he nearly died. Well, he has Crohn's disease and he had to have half of his stomach removed, and he nearly died. And then in the interview he's like, you know, I want to be remembered for my magic, and I will do whatever it takes, whatever it takes, you know. And then another magician, he openly says, he even got asked, have you sold your soul? And he's like, yes, you know. But some of these people aren't joking, you know. Some people jokingly say, oh, I sold my soul, probably because they have, you know. But oh, it's freaky, it's scary, because I was quite I used to watch Dynamo. Chris Angel, big one in America, he was all the rage. But some people are saying Chris Angel, oh, you know, he's fake and everything. You need to watch the documentary, because he literally openly says he uses voodoo. I understand that they use a lot of different spirits in voodoo. So does Dynamo. Dynamo's into voodoo. And voodoo can be good or it can be bad, in my understanding. So Chris Angel has, you know, there was that one time where he levitates multiple times. And apparently, you know, they have a law, like, for example, in the spirit realm, they can, you know, in this world, for example, if there's a table, you know, they're not fully allowed to show you, you know, the transportation into the table. So that's why magicians such as Chris Angel and Dynamo, or David Blaine even, they have to cover like a bit of themselves in order to pass through like a solid object. I don't know why that is. I don't know why they have that law in the spiritual realm of they can't allow you to see all of it. But I think we see enough in the documentary. Chris Angel is just fascinating, to be honest. It's fascinating to watch. I was watching Britain's Got Talent, and this is before I watched the documentary, because I said to my partner, I don't know if this magician is just really good, or I think he's like involved in something because of the way how fast his hands were going. His eyes, for example, the eyes are a big one. He made a card turn around on its own and scrunch up and whatnot. And you can tell in his eyes he is literally really focusing, like using his energy. And then there was another one on America's Got Talent of this magician called Matt, I think, and he had a spirit guide called Desmond, and he said if Desmond doesn't show up, then there is no show. So, you know, he's open about his, you know, just working along with spirits, which also is incredibly stupid. So, Demon Magicians Exposed, I'll put a link to the video. It's a really, really interesting watch. It's scary. I still haven't watched all of it. There's a part 2 as well, because this guy is amazing, this documentary maker. He has literally spent so many hours really like going into depths of which magician is actually using dark spirits to help him. And as we all know, in Sin City, they just, you know, there's so many people that want fame and fortune, and obviously some people think the only quickest way to get there is to sell their soul. But I mean, it's such an interesting documentary, honestly. Like it literally had me gobsmacked. I mean, I was watching it until it got dark, and normally I don't watch stuff like that because my imagination gets the best of me at times. But definitely check it out. It's called Demon Magicians Exposed. It goes through all the signs you need to watch out for. And you know, I mean, it's just when you look at it and then you look at the audience, they're like, oh wow, you're so good and everything, and then you're just like sitting there with this newfound knowledge, and then it's just so obvious to you about how they're doing these tricks. You know, like I said, I'm not stupid. I know there are, you know, it doesn't apply to all magicians, but the real ones that can levitate over buildings, can make other people levitate, can do weird card tricks, like pull out a card literally from their hand. Those are the things I'm talking about. So, you know, you do have to be aware that this stuff is very, very real. You know, it's not in a storybook anymore. It's never been just in a storybook. It's the real world. There's always going to be a spiritual warfare, you know, going on. Which brings me to a reminder. I have a new podcast I'm going to be part of. I'm going to be a guest on another podcast this Saturday. It's an American podcast, I believe. It will be on British time around 7 o'clock. I'll put up the links and whatnot. I'm very grateful to the lovely podcast I was a part of a couple of weeks ago. I've also got another one coming up, I believe in 2 weeks, where I will be talking about my spiritual abilities, growing up in a haunted house, how to protect yourself spiritually, and a little more about me. So yeah, thank you very much for your support. Please continue. Have a lovely day, and I shall talk to you soon. But definitely check out that documentary, Demon Magicians Exposed, on YouTube, part 1 and 2.